Hello, Scrabble here. Today I'm coming at you with a review of combo action platformer Dust and Elysian Tail. This one was provided to me by Humble Hearts for review, so thank you so much for that. Now, before I get started, I'd like to point out something that I find incredible with this game. You know, I find it incredible with all kinds of indie games. It's one of the reasons that I really love the genre. Dust was designed and developed by just one person, Dean Dotterill. According to Wikipedia, he spent 3.5 years making this game. He did all the animation and illustration by himself, level design, gameplay design, everything. Even if this were a bad game, I'd find that incredibly impressive for a game of this size and scope. But even more incredible, it's not a bad game. It's a great game. So, let's talk about the story here. Dust takes place in a world of magic, populated by anthropomorphic animal people. They're in the midst of a racially motivated conflict, one where one group is committing genocide against the Moonbloods, a race that doesn't seem too different from anyone else, really. Why they're trying to exterminate the Moonbloods never really explained, and it's not as important as the fact that they're doing it. As with all conflict, there are also people trapped in the middle who are trying to get by, want no part in what's happening. They want to live their lives, make sure their friends and family remain safe and happy. You play as Dust, a character of ambiguous origin who wakes up with amnesia, having no idea who he is or how he got there. You immediately meet a talking sword who joins you, and Fidget, a flying talking Nimbat who casts magic, stays with you throughout the adventure. The story is engaging, kept me motivated to finish the game, see what happens next, kept me going. The dialogue was well written, often made me laugh out loud. Fidget, the Nimbat, loves breaking the fourth wall, pointing out logical inconsistencies found in game design. If you're a fan of that, things like Deadpool, you're in for a good time. On to the gameplay. The gameplay here, you got a mix of exploration and a much heavier focus on combo-based 2D action. Playing it, I was reminded of a 2D Bayonetta that made me less frustrated to play. But, as I'll get into, I think a good chunk of the design went towards removing player frustration, and that was time well spent. Dust has a large repertoire of combat moves in the air and on the ground, focusing on two different kinds of strikes and a magic attack, where Nimbat fires some sort of magical attack. You get to change the attribute and type of magical attack throughout the game on the fly. She fires that right into the fray. These moves can be combined into a large number of combos that you'll get more comfortable with throughout the game. Dust can also dodge roll through enemies, parry their attacks to create an opening for critical hit counterattacks. I'm pretty sure the critical hits are guaranteed on these counterattacks. For a game where the story's about genocide, it's a little surprising that you'll find yourself slicing through thousands of enemies over the course of the game. This is not really any different from how Nathan Drake slaughters tons of people and is a huge mass murderer. Dust also has a lot of character customization options. Every time you level up, you receive a stat point that you can allocate to one of your stats. Stat increases always felt significant, which is great. It was never you put in 1 point for 1 point of increase. The increases were large, and you always felt the change. The game prevents you from loading all of your stat points into a single stat by forcing them all to be within 4 points of each other. So this prevents you from making a glass cannon build, which I thought was unfortunate, but also stands to reduce frustration amongst gamers as they found their build choices completely ineffective as the game continued. Things like if players had put all their points into hit points, for example, they'd have a ton of hit points, but be completely unable to face the challenges that increase throughout the game. You're also able to equip Dust through a variety of armor and accessory slots. Throughout the game, you find new equipment, blueprints for new equipment, you can craft equipment at a blacksmith, or anywhere you want if you find a particular item. Items are crafted using material drops that you find from enemies. The drops that produce the best equipment are also the rarest drops. But again, not too much frustration here. If you sell a drop to the store, you can then purchase that drop from the store instead of needing to farm it. The store restocks every 4 minutes, so you never need to wait too long before it carries what you need. There were points of the game where I felt like my equipment wasn't progressing very fast, and I wondered why, especially with my chest piece. But At the end of the game, I ended up with incredible blueprints that I just couldn't afford to craft. So there was reason to play further, or if I was having trouble, I could have played a bit longer until I could craft the strongest gear. The exploration in the game didn't feel as good as the combat. It had a more superficial feeling, since you unlock additional exploration moves throughout the game, like climbing, sliding, that type of thing, but you rarely have a reason to backtrack and see how the moves changed earlier areas. Instead, these moves are usually used to progress past obstacles in the levels you obtain them, but they are never forgotten about, like a lot of games do, and they're used consistently in every level going forward. The levels are filled with chests containing money, materials, and blueprints for new items. You need to have a treasure key in order to open the chest, and then you play a little mini game. Those are found hidden in the levels as well. Some of the blueprints found in these chests contain super powerful items, well worth getting. Other chests only contain money and food, but there's no indication of what the chest contains before you open it, so sometimes you might feel like you've wasted a key and not gotten a huge reward out of it, and other times you're really happy that you opened that particular chest. If you are interested, you can go back to earlier levels to complete the map, find all the treasure and complete side quests. It never felt required to complete the story. The lack of necessary backtracking is going to make players happy if they get frustrated by having to revisit old areas again and again. This is a complaint that I saw from some players in Hollow Knight. It doesn't bug me personally. There were also some cool secrets that I found in some of the earlier areas that I wasn't able to reach my first time through. The area maps do show you screens where there are secrets to find. The map updates to let you know when all the secrets have been discovered in that particular screen. The world map also shows map completion and treasure completion percentages, which makes backtracking for secrets a whole lot less frustrating than it would be otherwise. And because you see on the map where the secrets are in the areas, that reduces frustration too. That was a frustration that I had during Shuntai Half Genie Hero. So with ports of games, one of the biggest questions is, how does the port perform? I'm happy to say that for the most part, it performs wonderfully. The animation combat looked great, they're extremely fluid. I did notice some slowdown and frame drops in the final level. There was a lot going on. The game played wonderfully in both docked and portable modes. I really enjoyed my time with it. The final level of the game contained the only real problems I had. It introduced enemies that needed a higher degree of strategy and thought to beat, but also contained a ton of NPCs on screen that blocked my visibility of those more difficult enemies. I often felt like I needed to resort to button mashing simply because I couldn't see the action. It didn't carry forward to the final boss of the game where visibility was restored, and it was an incredible fight and an amazing finish, but I did have some frustration over the course of the level. The game did crash on me once, but I saved just a bit before the crash. Auto-saves are frequent in the game. I wasn't frustrated by the crash. Was happy I only saw the one. Can't blame the game for it because I was never able to repeat the crash. I did notice a few audio glitches in the game, especially in the final level where it seemed like audio from one source would cut in and out from time to time. But the developer was forthcoming with this issue and let me know that it did not exist on the dev kits they were using, but was found on retail Switch units. A fix is coming, it's in certification, will likely miss the launch date, and will be available shortly after launch. It didn't impact my enjoyment of the game at all, but you should be aware. So, what's my final verdict? You know, I ended up completing the game on normal in just under 8 hours with a completion rate of 76%. I loved my time with it. The combat felt wonderful, the story was engaging, the systems always felt good, and the game seems specifically designed to reduce frustration that a lot of people experience. There's enough here to keep people busy, and there are a fair number of difficulty options to keep people playing. Overall, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. Dust and Elysian Tail will be available in North America and Europe and Australia on September 10th for $14.99 US. The physical version is currently available for pre-order through Limited Run Games for $29.99 US. If you've never played Dust, or just want to visit again, take it with you on the go, I'd pick this one up in a heartbeat. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, hit that like button. If you would like to see more reviews, quick looks, let's plays from me, then feel free to subscribe. Helps out the channel a lot. You can share the video. You can comment on the video. I love talking to commenters. Thanks again. Take care. I will see you next time.